Today, we are at one of our personal rental properties in Reunion Resort. This one's called Great Escape Manor. I'm gonna go over the numbers soon, but I wanna tell you a little bit about the property first. So the property is 5,500 square feet. It has 9 full bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms. It has a full arcade. Also, it has kids-themed rooms with bunk beds, such as a wizarding room and a space room. Also has a beautiful pool area, and it's huge, and it's really nice for the adults to relax and the kids. Has a pool table, also with a Camaro theme, and a 1969 theme room. Also features a movie theater. The rooms are also themed. So some of these things that we did to this property are the guidelines that we follow for our properties in order to make sure that they're rented. Because when you have a short-term rental, you're competing against all the other short-term rentals in the neighborhood. So you want to make sure that you have the key features that families are looking for. So when we get into the numbers, this particular house in 2023 did about $200,000 in gross revenues. So we don't manage the property ourselves. We have a very high-end property manager, Magical Vacation Homes, who manages it for a 20% fee. They do a wonderful job. So that's one of our expenses. When you factor in all the other expenses that we do have, you know, property taxes, insurance, regular maintenance, and other things, and we do have a mortgage on this property, so mortgage interest. After all of those expenses, we net about 25% in income after all non-cash expenses. For income tax, we're able to deduct things like depreciation, but we're not factoring that in here because that's not a true cash expense. So in addition to that, one of the things that's great about this property and any other rental property that is cash flowing is somebody else is paying our mortgage. So we are building equity by paying down the principal every month, but somebody else is paying it through our rental revenues. Also, this house happens to be a few years old now, but in that time, it's appreciated in value. So we could sell it for at least 50% to 60% more than what we are into it all in for our cash for buying the house, furnishing the house, doing the theme rooms, and getting it ready to rent. So it's a very lucrative investment. In Orlando, those are the type of things that you need. Each market is very different across the United States. Different markets require different things, but in this particular market, those are the things you want. You want a room for an arcade if possible. You want to have a room for the adults also. Here we have the pool, the outdoor area. It's beautiful, a huge living area. Home theaters are very popular. Obviously, also kids' playrooms, a little slide. We have a hidden bookcase that goes into the slide, into the wizard room. So those things are just really great things. And when you're scrolling through and you're picking houses to rent, when you're going on vacation, those are the things that people are looking for. Why are they going to rent your house over the next house? What are the things that are going to set you apart? So those are the things that you should think about when you're looking for an Airbnb. So when you have a short-term rental property, different areas across the country will have different seasons. So in Orlando, the slower months are usually May and September, maybe a little bit into October. Generally, that's around the kids' vacations for school and people getting in and out of school starting. Other parts across the country will have different seasons. Like if you're in an area that has a lot of snow, and maybe it's the summer months, you know, it really just depends, you know. Obviously, if you have an Airbnb for a skiing area, then the winter months will be peak for you. So really, you just have to learn what the market is in your area and what seasons are going to be the highest for you. But it's not going to be blanket, you know, steady across the entire year. Generally, revenues will bounce with the seasons. So one of the cool things about having a short-term rental property is you can vacation in the property, preferably in the seasons that are slower, in the seasons where you have less guests, so you can still enjoy the property for personal use. Talk to your accountant, you know, about the tax implications of that. But it is definitely something that people love to do. We generally only do that in off-peak seasons and off-peak times because we want to maximize our rental revenue during those peak seasons. Obviously in Orlando, people travel here for the holidays. They travel here for the snowbirds are coming down January, February, and March. Summer is super hot when it comes to Disney, the theme parks, and travel. So we try to avoid staying in any of our properties during those months, but of course that choice is up to you. So the expenses that you have when dealing with a rental property generally are the following. You have cleaning and maintenance. As I mentioned, you have a rental management or property manager fee if you have a separate property manager, property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, club dues, cable, internet. You're also gonna have some repairs, some supplies, and then also mortgage interest is deductible as well if you have a mortgage on the property. But those are the main key expenses that you can expect when you have a short-term rental property. One of the expenses I mentioned is a non-cash deduction, and that is depreciation. Depreciation is our best friend because we're able to take a deduction for our taxes that is actually not cash coming out of our pocket for an asset that is appreciating in value. So it's a beautiful thing. So in this example, we have $200,000 that we're having with gross rents. At the end of the day, we're taking home $50,000 in cash flow, but we're able to write that $50,000 off as our depreciation deduction. So in effect, we're paying no tax on that money. So that's one of the great benefits about having investment properties. That's rental, long-term or short-term, it doesn't matter. But the income tax benefits are fantastic. So all of the expenses and the breakdown of the numbers we went through today are gonna be in the description. I didn't wanna go through each number in boring granular detail, but it's there for all the people that are data focused. It's there in the notes for you, so check it out.